to be integrated. And then we have the specialized subjects. Now, these are the sports subjects. And we divided it into three. The sports performance, wherein the topics are on functional anatomy, exercise physiology, methods of training, fitness, parameters, safety and first aid, and current trends and issues. Then we have the sports participation, wherein the topics are health and fitness, fitness and well-being, healthy eating, current trends, and issues. Now, for the last is the psychosocial aspects in sports, wherein the topics are character formation, coping skills and mental toughness, stress management, time management, behavioral approaches to sports, technology, and innovations in sports. When we were doing the standards, one of the things that we considered was the qualification standards of all the personnel complement, and then we also included the salary grade and the organizational structure. So we have the administrative operations and management officers and staff. This would also include the IT, the sports medicine doctors, the physiotherapists. It's included here. Then, of course, the faculty, the lecturers, and coaches who are really high caliber coaches. Now, I was asked that after graduation, where would our graduates go? So when we were in Congress, one of the congressmen proposed a creation of a similar bill for higher education, wherein the graduates of the NAS would automatically go to that higher education. But I'm not yet sure whether they already submitted the bill. And then they could go to schools, universities, colleges as varsity scholars. And they can continue as amateur or become professional athletes. And they could go to other related careers. At first, we were thinking that the graduates will really be, this academy will be solely for athletes, wherein what they are just going to do is really to study, train hard, compete, and ultimately get that elusive Olympic gold medal. But the lawmakers are saying that aside from that, since not all are would be going to that direction, so they said maybe we could just add the related careers like officiating, coaching, sports, recreation leaders. So that's that is all, and I would like to thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Rose, for sharing the basic idea about the National Academy for Sport and all the things that are related to the act, which is the National Academy for Sport Act that was recently signed by, of course, by President Duterte. So, of
Yeah.
course, the reason why we are doing this forum, and also to give the public information related on the matters about the National Academy of Sports. So that's why we maximize the time for sharing and the Q&A portion of our discussion. So right now we are also live on Facebook, and then we are going to shout out some of our participants. So Reynaldo Liberato, while others can on Zoom can prepare their questions. Jamie Larry Cruz, and also who else? Jaime Cabalan, Regine Togado Watson, and Gustel Betita Pido are also joining us on Facebook Live. So I will give now the floor to Ma'am Dina if you're ready to share some of your thoughts, or if just in case if you're ready, then you can do so. Then the floor is also open for your questions. You can type your questions on the group chat, or also you can just click the raise your hand option on Zoom, and then you can also voice out your questions as live on the spot. And also acknowledge Dean Hercules Callanta of the Lyceum of the Philippines University joining us. He's also the former dean of the UP College of Human Kinetics, one of my mentors during my stint in UP CHK. Also, other our guests for on Zoom are as follows. Of course, Geraldine Dina Bernardo, Maki Macrae of Academy of Nueva Vizcaya, Anthony Valdez, Dasmariñas Cavite, Tony Benson, coach of Olympians in Australia, and also former director, one of the lead trainers of the Project Gintong Alay during the 80s to during the 80s. And also attorney Vic Africa, former consultant of the Philippine Sports Commission, former president of the Philippine Fencing Association, and part of the Philippine Olympic Committee, and also a resident anthropologist and a PhD student at the Anthropology Unit of the University of the Philippines, Diliman. So, Ma'am Dina, if you're ready, just in case, if you're okay.
Yeah, I'll wait for the others to ask the questions first.
Yes, okay. So far, okay, let us go to the first question that was sent to me via email of from Attorney Africa. Number one, I will share also this on the group, ladies and gentlemen. So one moment. Okay, so first question, Attorney Vic Africa. What is the philosophy of the National Academy of Sport, NAS, and more important, how does the philosophy related to the national philosophy of sport? So that is the first question. Then second, what sports will be concentrated on thought and practice at the NAS, and what are the criteria of those sports? Number three, how important or significant is excellence in their respective sport, a goal in the NAS system in one's advancement in the NAS? And number four, what is the standard of excellence in their respective sports that students are expected to meet, and failure to meet in the standard result in expulsion and scholarship? You can also, Ma'am Rose, you can also
Yeah.
view the question on the
Yes.
group chat. Okay po.
Yes, I'm also reading it now. As to the philosophy on the NAS, what I can only share to you is the philosophy that we did for the DEPED when we were doing the Philippine High School for Sports. We used the Olympism philosophy of life. And as for the NAS, I think it was not really mentioned yet. We are still going to do the IRR for this, and because of the COVID, they have not called for a meeting for that. So can I go to number two? What sports will be concentrated? Okay, so that was also mentioned when we were talking with the Senate and BCDA, because what they have in BCDA is just the swimming pool and the aquatics and athletics, the oval. So we told them that it's not enough. They were saying, no, there are a lot of sports. The 4 by 100 meters. No, those are not really the sports. The sports is athletics. Those are just events in the athletics, but it's not the sports. We need to have more than these two sports, like football, team sports, and other individual dual sports. And they said that they're going to construct facilities for this. Criteria in choosing the sports, like I said, it really depends on BCDA, because they are saying that we can only do this uh, facilities for this. How important significance is excellence in their respective sports, a goal of the NAS system in one's advancement? Okay, excellence really is very significant, because when aside from the studies that they have to do, they should be concentrating more on the trainings. And when we were conceptualizing this in the DEPED, we were thinking of three times a day for trainings, and then the education is actually for to be done 2 hours. Wait, 2 hours a week. It's not here. Okay. So it's really very important, excellence in. We need to get really the highly talented athletes to go into the NAS. I just would like to share with you this one. There was a provision in the NAS. They said that they are going to require fees. And we said, no, in DepEd, high school is free. So it has to be on full scholarship. So that was the time that they agreed, but they said that if the NAS in the future will be offering seminars or sports clinics, and they would like to get participants from any of the schools, other schools, then that's the time they were going to collect fees. Mm-hmm.
Okay, ma'am. Yes.
What is the standard of inspectors? During national games, will these student athletes represent NAS? Okay. So when we were talking, Congressman Romulo asked the Philippine Sports Commission, if we're going to get the national athletes, how many will this be? And they said it's around 1,000 plus. But the age is not really high school age. It ranges. It ranges from high school to college. So when they ask about the palarong pambansa athletes, and we suggested that to get the champion, the first three, and then also get the first three from the other sports events. And then there are two sides to that. Which province will they represent when they join the palaro? And it was decided by Congress that they represent their province when they compete in the palaro. Mm-hmm.
Means that even with the NAS situated in Central Luzon, which is in Tarlac, they won't represent Central Luzon alone, meaning from their home provinces, they will be but the question is how it will happen, because of course there is already a regional palaro system happening in their respective provinces. I don't know, ma'am, but correct me if I'm wrong, that for this athlete from NAS, he will be automatically qualified, or he or she must still join their respective home provinces competitions in order to represent their home region or provinces.
I think that the BLSS is already did their guidelines for the Palarong Pambansa. And when we were the ones implementing the Palarong Pambansa, our office before, the Task Force on School Sports, the guidelines now is different from that we did before. So I think they will be in a better position to say how the procedure or the mechanics is, because it's totally different now. It's not anymore competition from district to division to region. I think it's already different. Two athletes per. When it comes to Palaro, I'm sorry, I do not know, because I am with the Bureau of Curriculum Development, and what we do is the curriculum for the special programming, special programs and the regular programs. Athletes welfare. They will be given stipends and free board, free uniforms, everything. Can I read the message of Professor Callanta? The NAS, in my humble opinion, should prepare athletes for world caliber competition. Yes, Prof. Herc, that was really our intention when we were doing the NAS. We said that they should really concentrate on competing while providing their education. This takes a lot of revolutionary ideas. That's why we said that the curriculum that we did is revolutionary. Otherwise, this might be redundant program of the SPS. Yes, sir. Yes. We are saying that it should be different from the special program in sports and the sports track. Yeah. I think the problem lies in the absence of a national sports philosophy as queried by Attorney Africa. Yes, I agree.
Yes,
ma'am. I agree. What
Okay.
age? What age range will the students at NAS be? The age is from 13 to 18, 18, 19.
Okay. So no elementary kids,
No
ma'am,
kid, no
after.
elementary. No
Okay.
elementary.
Okay. So also, pardon, because I'm using now my mobile phone because
Uh-huh.
I don't know how my computer went off. Um, so ladies and gentlemen, please continue asking your questions. Ma'am Rose, kindly do the. I would appreciate if you read the questions on the chat box because I'm using mobile, so I cannot really review them for your
Okay.
convenience because I'm using them.
Okay.
So of course, question. So to sum up, those who will be in the NES, they will be selected based on their performance. In order to enter NAS, will it be like an examination or like fitness testing or only by palaro qualification? For example, like as you mentioned, the top three athletes per respective events will automatically be admitted or qualified to enter the NAS, or there will be another way, which is like physical, practical, and also written examinations, etc. So, in what age should children or the pupil athlete should enter NAS? It's usually by
Grade 7.
13 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
If,
Ma'am, what?
wait, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 13.
Okay,
At least 13 years old.
okay, ma'am. So how they will be selected via
Now,
their
you
performance via
know,
palaro or? Mm-hmm.
this bill has just been signed last June 9. And because of the COVID pandemic, we haven't yet uh, sat down and talk about these things and iron out the nitty-gritty of the NAS. So I really cannot say how it's going to be, but there's definitely a screening and selection of athletes, and the executive committee will be doing that according to the bill.
Okay, ma'am. So we still have other questions on the chat box. Okay. Did you already Attorney Vic Africa also mentioned, so how can we measure excellence if I'm not based on the question? So ma'am, kindly review also what is on the chat box and you can answer them to your own convenience, because I'm still waiting for my computer to restart. Yeah.
The last was no elementary kids. What about psychological effects of being away from the family? Will psychologists and guidance counselors be employed? Yes po. There will be psychologists, guidance counselors. When when we were doing this for the DEPED, I'm not saying for the NAS, we looked at the sports high schools in Malaysia, in Singapore, and in China. And we found out that in China, they get as early as 6 years old. But we said that we need to aside from the training that these the student athletes would be getting, the most important thing is their education. Because we're from the DEPED, of course, education is more important because as we all know, there are some athletes, world-renowned athletes, who were not able to finish their schooling. But now, we found that some of them are not really doing good. And in fact, are living quite poorly. So for DepEd, I can only answer for what DepEd can provide to the NAS. Okay. Are we not putting the cart before the wheel because the NAS will proceed with its own philosophy without the guidance of the national philosophy? Like what I said, we still need to iron all of these things. What is really the philosophy behind the creation of an NAS? But for DepEd, I mentioned that we used the Olympism.
Okay.
I worked for the Zamboanga Sports Academy as a coach, and I had to deal with a lot of stress from kids being homesick. They were just 1 hour, 3 minutes away from their parents, but got to go home every 2 weeks. It involved sitting down with guidance counselors, principals, etc. to cope with this stress. What about psychological effects of being away from family? Will psychologists and guidance counselors be employed? Yes, and one of the things that we are looking is we propose this to both the Senate and the Congress, that there's in the dorm there should be at least a mother figure for them, and they should also have a father figure to look up to. So we know that the culture of Filipinos is really close knit, and it's really hard if our children are away from us for even quite some time. I feel this from her. I feel this is the problem with our programs related to sports. There is an unclear national sports philosophy, so the programs affiliated or designed to feed into the national sports program do not have a clear direction. Professor Herc, do you think it should be PSC to be doing this?
Okay.
With
Yes.
needed, yeah. Yes, we need to have a national sports philosophy. You're going to get
Yeah.
world-class coaches. Yes. Sige, Herc. Ikaw muna.
Yeah.
Thank you, Herc.
You know, I was just typing this. Actually, I've been part of, I think many of us have been part of many sports summits, but there has never been a clear pursuing of a national sports philosophy. So our programs are all over the place. Depending on the leadership, this is pursued. I feel personally that this cannot be solved by a sports summit once again. Because what happens in the sports summit is everyone says the same thing over and over and over again. And there is posturing, there's a lot of uh, maybe advertisement of oneself.
Yeah.
So the thing that needs to be done is someone in the sports leadership has to buy in on the idea of having a sports philosophy, a national sports philosophy. Somebody who realizes this, the importance of this. Somebody who will go to the extent of lobbying to the leadership the importance of sports philosophy, which takes into consideration that sports is not an overnight matter, that you need to develop this slowly, that you need to develop this over years, not only among the elite athletes, not only among the people who will go to the NAS, not even only up to the PSC people, but as also part of the lifestyle of the Filipino. I'm sure people might be saying, and si Herc is talking dreams. Well, I believe this. If there is no vision, which may be a dream, people perish. And that's what's happening to our sports program right now. We might say, oh, see, games, we did this, we did that. Yes, but that I feel that was a very temporary victory. Why? Because it has to be sustainable. And what more, sports must be seen also, or the benefit of sports must be seen also among the citizenry, not just the elite level athletes. Otherwise, you end up with an artificial sports program which only sees the brightest stars, but not the gains of sports among the citizenry. That's just my take. Rose, I believe you meant well, but when we were talking, when it went to Congress, I'm sure because the people there were not also guided by a national sports philosophy. All they wanted were answers to their questions, which were also very, very, pardon my saying this, but short-sighted and narrow. We need someone who will really espouse sports philosophy as the start of all of these things. That's all that's my take on this.
Yes,
Okay.
and just would like to mention this. When I presented the bill to DEPED, you know what they told me? Why did you allow that DEPED will get the funds and you give it to BCDA for? And then they said that, well, if that's going to be the bill, we cannot do anything except to follow. Yeah, we've been hurt. What we talked about during our conferences, we relayed that to Congress, but they have a different view
Yes,
of
I'm
things.
sure.
Yes, even the board, Congress wanted no involvement in it, but Senate wanted uh, them to sit in the board. Yes. So I said, politika again. This will be again politics. So as much as possible, the version of the Congress is for the board is, I think, better because they didn't want to have a part of it. Even the giving out of funds, they said, no, we have a lot of things already in here, doing things here. Why do you have to do all of those things? Give it to them. So, yun po yun. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Consider the amount of potential spent with this game. Yes. You said DEPED is following the philosophy of Olympism for, no, not for the NAS, but the one that we did prior to the NAS when we were conceptualizing the Philippine Academy, the Philippine High School for Sports. Actually, that was the title of the bill for Congress. But since Senator Go proposed the National Academy for Sports, so it prevailed. And they wanted to place there the system because similarly to the Philippine High School for the Arts, Philippine High School for Sports, the University of the Philippines is a system. But prior to its passing, Senator Go said, please remove the system from the title. But inside, you will really see that it was mentioned. I called up the Congress and I asked them, why is it that the title is different from what is written inside? And then they said, oh, that's okay because it's really a system. It's the title is just the National Sports Academy. So we have to take off the system, but it's inside. You stated that you will be getting world-class coaches. What is your rating of a world-class coach? And how do you find world-class coach for a 13-year-old athlete? We're not really saying that it's for 13-year-old athletes, maybe for, but that was mentioned that before we could get a world-class, say, coach from other countries, there has to be an imprimatur from the Philippine Sports Commission. They will have to say whether, no, we don't need that because we have good coaches here in the Philippines. But that was placed in the RA. So what it means, you give them world-class coaching. Of course, for 13-year-old, there are stages in coaching. I am not a coach, but in our coaching trainings, we had the 3-level coaching. And the first one is for coaching for beginners, the advanced, and for ano na ba yan? Basta we had three stages for coaching. Local UAAP coaches after having world class. It will be like I said, the IRR will serve as the what we are going as the guidelines to follow in implementing the NAS. So as of now, it's not yet known. Not yet because there's no IRR yet. So okay, so you guys are just figuring out still. No, it's not really figuring out still, but there's a law. And according to the law, before it can be implemented, the IRR must come out.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. So far, ladies and gentlemen, those who are in still kindly type your questions, etc. So, of course, we hope that. By the way, ma'am, do we, as you mentioned, there is task force related to the sport activities in DepEd. I hope that we can invite them in the future in
No,
relation.
Airnel, that was before.
That was
Before, during, that was in 2010 was the last. We had a task force on school sports. And when another management came, he changed it to the physical fitness, sports wellness something office. And he replaced it with that. And now there is the BLSS, wherein there's the sports division. So they're the ones handling the sports program, including the Palarong Pambansa.
Okay. So far, we have also other participants here. Coach Mike Zone, Olongapo City. Andrew, since I have an unreliable connection now, can you also review on the questions posted by our participants on Facebook, because they have also their set of okay, so I'm trying now to read it because I don't know why my computer is getting out of hand today. So far, what else?
The last question I have is, so you guys are still figuring out still, but you passed the bill. Yes, the bill was passed. It was signed last June 9 by the President. And I would like to inform you that we were just invited in a meeting, and our opinions, we just got our opinion on it, on the bills, but it is still Congress and Senate who did the bill. Yeah. I don't have any more questions here, except Love of Logistics and World Class.
Okay, so far we will go now to Facebook, ma'am. So the question is from Tony Benson, former head trainer, coach of Gintong Alay. Where is the expertise needed from young athletes into high-level athletes coming from? Okay, so at the highest level, Philippine track and field resorts are about 60 years behind the times. At school levels, most Palaro talent ID charts would suggest 7 to 18-year-olds achieve. Where do the world-class personnel coming from? So what are who is in charge of? I think based on the, I will try to recontextualize the question of Coach Tony. So what are the basis of hiring world-class quote unquote personnel? Yes. So who will be in charge of hiring or this based on your knowledge and capacity, ma'am?
Okay. The NAS has the executive committee. So one of the functions of the executive committee is to hire personnel and coaches. Now, if they think it's in the bill, what I'm saying is in the bill. If they think that they need to get world-class coaches, they have to seek the imprimatur from PSC, whether it is feasible or is it appropriate to get when we already have here good coaches. For me, of course, there are international coaches that are good, but we also have coaches who are really very good here in the Philippines, homegrown.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, as I read, ma'am, the act, because which I have already the soft copy here on. So the administrator of the NAS is the executive director. My question is, who will appoint, or what are the of appointing or hiring the executive director and also the executive committee? Who has the final say in?
I think it's the board.
Yes. So it means, for example, hindi naman of course, I'm not boasting myself. What if I want to apply as the executive director? Where should I go and where should I have my credentials to be passed? Is it the PSC or there will be a
the board comprises the chair, the DEPED as the chair, and the vice chair is the PSC. So like what I said, we need to this is just the bill yet, but we need to get hold of the IRR.
Okay, ma'am.
Because in the IRR, it states there everything about the NAS.
Okay, ma'am. I will now open, ma'am, the floor for questions both on also on chat. So, Attorney Vic Africa, baka mayroon kayong katanungan na gusto pang ibahagi bukod sa pagta-type para naman higit na mas maliwanagan. Mas gusto ko kasing naririnig ang inyong ang dinig bilang isang antropologya na eksperto sa antropolohiya ng sports sa Pilipinas at bilang isa ring mahusay na mananang sa larangan ng sports. So, ayun po, Sir Vic, sa inyo po ngayon ang mikropono para makapagbahagi rin kayo ng inyong mga kuro-kuro at mga katanungan.
Salamat, Ernel. Uulitin ko lang yung ka-chat, kalalagay ko lang ng chat sa chat box na naka-address kay Dean Hurt. Kailangan talaga ng national philosophy on sports. Otherwise, kanya-kanya tayo. Hindi natin alam kung anong gusto natin mangyari. Bakit ba kaya nga unang tanong bakit ba tayo nasa sports? Bakit kailangan ng sports? Ano ba ang inaasahan ng bansa sa sports? Nakalagay sa constitution 'yan eh. Development of a healthy and alert citizenry.
Yes.
Hindi sinasabi sa constitution manalo ng medalya.
Exacto.
Hindi 'yan ang gusto ng sports. May ambag na inaasahan sa atin. Nasaan 'yun? Kung hindi natin sasabihin sa lahat ng taong nasa sports, ito ang inaasahan sa inyo, kanya-kanya tayo. Ang lumalabas, ang filosofiya natin, zero sum. Kailangan may manalo, kailangan may matalo. Subalit hindi ganyan ang filosofiya ng sports. Hindi ganyan ang filosofiya ng Olympism. Hindi ganyan ang kay Pierre de Coubertin. Bakit na iniiba natin eh? Iniiba natin, nakasulat na nga. Iniiba pa natin. So kailangan merong isang tatayo talaga na mataas na tao sa pinuno, sabihin, ito ang pupuntahan natin. Maghanap na tayo ng filosofiya ng sports. Gusto nating palitan ang sinasabi na constitution. Sama-sama tayo, sabihin natin, o sige, mula ngayon, ang filosofiya natin manalo ng medalya. Okay, bakit tayo nasa mga sports na hindi mananalo ng medalya? Bakit natin ginagastos ng mga coaches at atleta? Alam natin walang pag-asa manalo. Doon tayo sa Para-Olympics. Ang daming pinanalo. Kung yun ang talagang gusto natin. Pero kung ang gusto natin, excellence. Wala akong alam na Tagalog na salita para sa excellence eh. Excellence. Kung yan talagang gusto natin, sabihin natin. At ipakita natin. Magpakatotoo tayo sa filosofiya natin. Yun ang aking dinidiin. Sana mapakinggan tayo. Salamat, Ernel. Salamat sa inyo.
Apo, maraming salamat, Attorney Vic, sa inyong pagbabahagi. Tama na mabigyan sana ng pagkakataon tayo. I hope that we will find time and space for our policymakers to really consider, to hear what is our philosophy. Of course, hindi naman sa pag-ano rito sa kasi sa University of Physical Education sa Budapest, Hungary, malinaw yung concept ng filosofiya ng paaralan to develop the strength and body and morals. Hindi lang yung kahusayan or kalakasan sa sports, pero yung may talaga sa moral na aspeto ng sport. Kasi ang pananaw ng for example, ito, babahagi ko lang sa aming mga talakayan dito sa mga aralin namin, na lagi nila sinasabi na walang kakayahan ang mahinang hindi ganong kalakas ang Hungary in terms sa politika, sa militar, etc. Pero nakikita nila ang sport bilang sa soft power. So nakikita nila na para maiangat ang kagalingan ng bansa nila ay sa pamamagitan ng sport. So yun sa tingin ko ang naididiin din dito sa amin sa University of Physical Education. Kahusayan sa larangan sa o kalakasan ng sport at ang pagpapahalagang moral ng mga mag-aaral. Unifying the strength in mind, body, and morals. Yun. So yun yung kanilang filosofiya. So ilang pang mga pagbabahagi, other things, of course, that based on our Facebook Live, of course, from Jaime Cabalan of Kalinga Province, Pasay Apayao, paki-correct na lang po. Kung sana po ma-highlight din po ang career opportunities after graduation from NAS po,
Yes.
kasi may mga sport-inclined individuals but could not break through sa competitive sports. So pwede naman mag-coach, therapist, conditioning, etc., gym officials.
Yes.
So kasi of course, talagang napakataas ng ng kinakailangan para magkaroon ng level tungkol sa Olympics. So sana sa NAS ma-consider din na yung mga hindi na or yung ibang mga mag-aaral na mahusay sa aspeto ng pamamahala sa sport ay atin din maisalang-alang.
Airnel, pwede kong balikan yung sinabi ni Hert kanina.
Opo.
Na kasi kami sa DEPED, meron kaming special program in sports. Meron din kaming sports track. Now, for the exits of the the sports track, pwede kang maging atleta, pwede kang maging officiating official, pwede kang maging entrepreneur, pwede kang maging coach, pwede kang assistant teacher. So, may exit. Nung nag-uusap kami, yun yung sinasabi ni Hert, ano ang pagkakaiba na ngayon ng NAS sa sports track pagka nagkaganon. So, why do we need an NAS kung pwede na siya sa sports track? Parang, Hert, tama ba ako? Pagkakaintindi ko.
Actually, tama kasi marami na tayong, yun na nga yung sinasabi ni Attorney Africa rin eh. Kaya tayo kung saan-saan kasi wala ngang sabi nga ni Ma'am Dina, guiding beacon. Pero alam mo, the sports status right now, bago ko sagutin yung sinasabi mo na, tama yan pinag-uusapan natin, is a microcosm of the Philippine society sa totoo lang. Kaya ganun din yung fragmented eh. Fragmented yung mga programa. Baka pag nag-unite ang sports community, sports lang walang politicians. Pag nag-unite at nagtagumpay sa pag-establish ng tunay na sports philosophy, who knows, that might even be a stepping stone towards, if we take it seriously, towards national building, which is what sports is all about. It builds nations. It transforms societies. Baka sakali through sports, kaya dapat talaga seryosohin natin yung call for the need for a national sports philosophy. For example, yung SPS na yan at saka yung sports track. Sabi, feeder yan sa varsity. Feeder yan sa... Bakit ang NAS nagiging feeder din sa varsity? Hindi dapat magulo, di ba? Kasi nga, wala tayong clear-cut philosophy na pwede naman nating sabihin na itong level na ito para dito. Itong level na ito dito sa taas. Kasi yung sa masa, ma-achieve yung social transformation dun sa magandang sports program para sa masa na not necessarily will produce medals for the nation but will accomplish social transformation, unification of the nation, healthy citizenry, and people who are of character.
Yes.
Sports eh. And sorry, ako'y aalis na. Meron pa akong meeting ng 3 o'clock.
Thank you, Hert.
I just needed to say that. And thank you for verbalizing it, Attorney Africa.
Thank you, Hert. That was also... No, si Hert naman, he always tells us that values is not inherent. It has to be taught. We really have to teach our students values. Kaya, as much as possible, we would like our athletes, our student athletes, to really have yung character that Herc is saying. Sir, I'd like to answer kung mali yata yung konteksto na nakuha sa akin ni Sir Enzo. I don't think we should be following China. Yes, when we presented the sports programs of the different countries, nakita nga namin, for China talagang it's not really good kasi they were promising the parents that when they education for their children, work after they have finished their career in sports, but nothing happened. So that was one of the things that we presented for China. Hindi po maganda yung sports, how they got athletes sa ano nila, sa kanilang, those who competed in international competition. Get into yes.
Okay. So
yes.
far, yes. Other questions po. Also, I would like to acknowledge as well my colleague from UPCHK, who is now the sport director of Moorwoods International School or Academy in Nueva Vizcaya in Maki McCrae. Maki, if you have questions, you can also share your thoughts. Kasi, of course, on the context then, I hope na so nung nawala, by the way, ma'am, tanong, of course, tanong ko rin, ma'am, yung nangyari after nung, so may BLSS then sport division na.
Ngayon, yes.
Opo. So, sino na po talaga yung specific na office na related in terms ng IRRs related sa palaro? Kasi, of course, ito, ma'am, out of
hindi
the
naman
blue,
palaro yung IRR. It's the NAS.
Opo, yes, ma'am.
Magkakasama kami.
Opo. Kasi, ma'am, of course, gusto ko lang ding malaman kasi din yung mga pinapadala yung ibang coaches sa amin. Kasi especially sa private school, i-share ko na lang to habang naghihintay tayo ng ibang questions. Na may ibang regions kasi na hindi maiklaro yung basis ng qualification for the regional coach. Kasi nangyayari kasi, for example, the winner is from a private school which is employed as a coach by their private school. Nagkakaroon ng dilema kapag screening na ng papers tapos hindi ina-accept ng region kasi hindi raw nagwo-work full-time or nasa private daw nagwo-work. Meron po bang rule talaga na itong situation na dapat DEPED lang na coach ang mag-coach in a regional or up to palaro level? So paano naman yung mga nasa private school that they spend their resources employing or hiring their own respective coaches. Tapos pagdating ng palaro, hindi nabibigyan ng ganitong pagkakataon. Iniraise ko na rin po to since kayo po ay nandyan po mismo sa central office. In my experience po, nagkakaroon ng iba't ibang interpretations dito po sa coaching rule na ito, ma'am. I hope, kung hindi nyo po masagot, okay lang po. But if you can refer to our authority, sana ma-raise po ito.
Oo. Actually, dun sa meeting sa Congress, alam nyo bang ako'y napagalitan dahil dyan? Ang daming sinabi ni Congressman na bakit daw ang DepEd, meron naman daw silang coach, bakit daw ipinipilit yung teacher na coach. Ang sinabi ko naman sa kanya, I was speaking kasi based on our time na we were doing coaching accreditation for officiating and everything. So sinabi ko po, wag niyo naman po masyadong maliitin yung ating coaches because 80% of our teachers are members of the NSAs too. So sabi kong ganyan, siguro po sir, I am not in the better person to answer that is yung pang USEC namin. Alam niyo po, bago na po ang mga officials ng DepEd ngayon. Dati 4 lang ang USEC namin, ngayon parang 7 na yata sila. And sinabi ko po sa kanila, why don't you write USEC Elaine or USEC Revsi about that? When I communicated, si Marivic is a friend, when I communicated this to Marivic, sabi ko, oy, ako yung napagalitan ni dahil dyan, sabi kong ganyan. Tapos, could you please answer the query of the congressman. Ang sagot naman sa akin is, we already did. So, I really do not know I was not privy to the answer of the office kasi they are the ones handling the palarong pambansa.
Apo. Yes,
And
ma'am. So I hope, ma'am.
Sige.
Yes.
Sige, Ernest.
Apo. So I hope na siguro we can discuss this further. If you know someone who's a better resource person who can answer this palaro eligibility queries, we would be happy to invite them in the future so that they can really answer
Yes.
this very well. Kasi ma'am, I've been working with DepEd since, as I mentioned, 2006 up to 2014. And even when I moved to Davao, we have all concern about the privately hired coaches of the private schools vis-a-vis with the public schools coaches. And I hope you can assist
Yes. As far as I know, they really
authority who can
changed.
target
Yes,
that.
they changed the rules of the palarong pambansa. It
Yes, okay,
is
ma'am. So,
totally different now. And sure, I can. Si Marivic is part of the sports division. You can invite
Apo,
her
yes,
too.
ma'am. Apo, yes, ma'am. Kindly
Yes.
extend our invitation, but of course, I will write her.
Yeah. Sige lang.
Kindly, perhaps after the meeting, you can you can send me the specific persons, and then of course I can write them formally for invitation, ma'am. Okay, so ma'am, kindly browse also the group chat. So to our audience, we still have 15 minutes for our main program, but then we'll still accommodate our question and answer for the next 15 minutes. So time check in Philippines, it's 3:13. So I hope you can still join us for 3:30, Ma'am Rose. Okay, so to
Sige.
Maki, yes, okay, ma'am, you can browse the questions or you can comment. Okay, Maki, do you have any other comments pa? Yes, okay. Thank you, Maki of
I saw this question
Nuevo Vizcaya.
from is there a question?
Yes, ma'am.
I was browsing and I
Not
saw
ma'am,
the
comment lang.
Comment?
Yes, ma'am. Miss Dina, do you have any question,
okay.
ma'am, or comment?
Miss
Okay,
Rose.
Miss Dina, go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just curious. So, listening thus far, to what extent was the sport community actually consulted on this? Because
for the NAS?
For this NAS, because even judging from the prior questions,
Yes.
having these questions, it was addressed, or at least in consultation with the sport community, the professionals, the school sport administrators.
Yeah, those who were with us during the Senate and the Congress hearings are from the different agencies like PAGCOR, BCDA, TBM, and I'm not so sure if there's, of course, PSC was there, and some national sports associations
I see.
were there.
Okay, probably moving forward, I think you really have to involve them because my comment is really from a management perspective. So when you talk about management, it's about achieving a goal through organizing people within the constraints of resources. And more often than not, resources are very limited. So if the goal is, for example, let's say the goal is, okay, how do we win that elusive gold medal? And I can't imagine that so many other administrations in the past, I can't imagine there's nobody who tried to tackle that issue. So there have been setups already, like whether it's the sports academy or the high schools. And from there, I'm sure you'll even get a lot of experience from their examples. So if I am a country with limited resources and I have naman the Palaros and the other sport academies in the region, so is there not a way to rationalize or help, like streamline the process, diba? Maybe rather than having a national academy of sports, it's really a true unified sports program.
Yeah.
Na para madugtong-dugtong mo yung
Oo.
pipeline ba? Kasi right now, it's to our eyes right now, it's very magulo. Plus the fact that there's also no unified philosophy of sports. So that's why the reactions kanina is also
Yeah.
reflective of that, no? Na parang,
Yes.
saan ba talaga tayo pupunta? And sometimes it's so easy to like feel that this bill, as grand and nice as it is, will solve our problems.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
It's I'm kind of wary, and yet I hope that it will be solved in time.
Yes.
Mm-mm.
Oo.
Apa. Okay. Yes. So far, we continue our browsing in the comments and questions. Okay. So far, Ma'am Rose, if you can answer some of them, we would be happy to do so.
Sige.
Okay, so kindly, still we are online on Facebook. I-shout out po lang while you're browsing the questions on those who are joining us via Facebook Live. So Bull Gila of Australia, uh, because coaches, I think this was answered already. Thank you as well, Coach Tony Benson, Jaime Cabalan, hi Jamie Larry Cruz. Thank you for joining us on Facebook Live. So, ma'am, you can pick one of the questions or comments that you would like to react or answer on the group chat, and then we still have 10 minutes to wrap up. Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes to wrap up.
This one from Mr. Williams. I honestly think the DEPED needs to put a stop to private schools buying athletes off other regions. There was a proposal that the private schools will not join the Palarong Pambansa because they already have the PRISAA. Because yes, we know, especially in NCR, why is it? I'm sorry for the NCR. This is just an opinion of mine that they tend to they pirate from the other regions, those good ones. They offer privileges. One sample is my niece who got an offer. She's a tennis player from Region 3. There was an offer for her from UP and National NU. NU would like to give her car, house, and lot, everything. But we told her to go to UP because what you will gain from UP is education, really, a very good education. Now, we were discouraging the people from pirating because, it really hurts these coaches. They were the ones who developed these kids. And then here comes a region that would pirate them, give them everything. So siguro, we should also teach our athletes values and which is more important, the intrinsic or the extrinsic. Is it money? Is it uh, fame? What is really more important? We just hope that the other schools or not the other schools, but particularly the regions already are pirating from the other regions. So that for private schools also, yes, they always go to the Palaro to look for athletes. Yes, money, an unfair advantage against regions. Let me see. They have implemented a residency rule. We also had a residency rule in the Palarong Pambansa before, but I don't know whether it is how they could how could they pilot these athletes? Yes, I will inform the people from the sports division who are handling the Palarong Pambansa to be with you so that everything would be clear. PSC
Yes.
chair, yes, it's Chairman Butch Ramirez.
Yes. Okay.
He was with us.
Okay, ma'am. Yes. Okay. So I guess so far everything was covered. Again, we would like to thank again Attorney Vic Africa, Coach Miss Maki Macrae Academy, Coach Mike Johnson, Andrew Perry, Anthony Valdez, and Coach Tony Benson joining us. Sir Vic, final words or any further comments before we can wrap up for today? Bahagi lang bago tayo
pagbibig sa akin kung ano yung
nabanggit ko na ang lahat eh. Ang
Okay.
kailangan lang huminto muna tayo sa lahat ng ginagawa natin at pag-isipan kung nasaan tayo at kung saan natin gustong pumunta.
konti-konti nababago yun.
Maraming salamat
Okay.
po, Sir Vic.
Sige.
Bibit-bitin ko yan sa DepEd. Yan sinabi mong yan.
Meron kasing kasabihan sa English. Kaya sinasabi ko, pag-isipan niyo muna kung nasaan tayo. O pag-isipan ng isang tao kung nasaan siya. Ang sa English yan, if you don't know where you are, you will not know if you've moved. Yung isa naman, pag-isipan mo kung saan ka pupunta. Bakit? If you don't know where you're going, you wouldn't know if you've gotten there.
Yeah.
So, mag-isip muna. Self-reflection. Self-reflection. Salamat.
Okay, maraming salamat Sir Attorney Vic Africa para sa iyong pagbabahagi. Ma'am Miss Dina, final thoughts before I can give my final words as well.
Siguro a small management tip lang, no? Sometimes people always ask, bakit natalo to? Bakit natalo yan? Is it because of lack of support? But the better question is, paano nyo ginamit yung support? So not putting all this money in the world in this NAS will not magically give us the Olympic gold medal. But have we actually judiciously used our resources and where it could create the biggest impacts? So not having all this money will help. It's really using resources like people, money, and assets, whatever assets we have now. So tama, I joined sila Attorney Africa also and Dean Herc in saying, and everybody else in the chat group, thank you very much, in saying that let's really proceed very well thought of, and make sure that that pipeline mula pagka grassroots all the way to the elite level is streamlined. Thank you very much, Miss Rose. It was very
Thank you very
important
much, Ma'am
for us
Dina.
to hear your
Yeah, I would like
your
to make
take
it clear
on
before
NAS.
yeah.
And good luck.
Apa. Before I accepted this, I told Airnel that Airnel, what I can give you is what we are doing in DepEd. But for the
Yes, ma'am.
NAS itself, it's a bill, it's already a law, and maybe we could tweak it in the doing of the IRR. Maybe, ma'am, you could we could invite also siguro Mr. Africa when we do the IRR, even online, and Ma'am Dina, of course, and some of those sports personalities. Organizations. Yeah. So maybe dito na, Sir Africa, we could already do the Yes. Sige po, I will once they already set up a meeting for doing the IRR, i-recommend ko po kayo. Of course, Herc will also be there with us. And in doing the what we did for DepEd, ang mga consultants po namin are Herc, and if you know Eski Ripoll, si Lord Vergara, Dr. Vergara, and si Stella Orbistondo. So the four of them. So Ma'am will invite you, and Sir Vic don't say no.
Yeah, we would be happy. Of course, I'm sure. We would be happy. Of course, I mean, Ma'am Dina and Sir Vic would be part. We hope that to this kind of initiative, we extend more of our things doing. Matagal pa ako makakauwi, pero
ilang taon pa?
3 years pa po, ma'am. Ang sa contract ko, ma'am, by hook or by crook, August 1, 2023, I should be out. Yun. So, yun po yung nakalagay sa contract ko. Scholarship. Yan. So,
Good
of
luck.
course, Yeah, thank you po. But of course, I think I shared this many times also some thoughts. Of course, the government of Hungary is always offering this program every November, the start of the applications, and then, but of course, they must contact first the University of Physical Education, which is already on, so English that tf.hu. Okay, so that is the website of the university for those who would like to consider studying here. Okay, so my final thoughts. I'm of course, thank you. Maraming salamat po, Ma'am Rose, for joining us this
Thank
afternoon.
you.
I know that it's very also tight schedule on your part because it's the beginning or almost in the middle of preparation for the blended learning program of the Department of Education, especially with the COVID-19. And then we would like also to thank our reactors and visitors, Ma'am Dina, Attorney Vic, Maki, Mike, Coach Tony, Andrew, Anthony, and also earlier Dean Herc for joining us here on Zoom Live, and also to our participants on Facebook Live. Mahalaga na malaman natin, sinabi na Attorney Vic, na magkaroon ng sapat na direksyon at sapat na filosofiya at mahusay na filosofiya para malinawan kung ano ang ating direksyong gustong tahakin. Malinaw na dapat nating makita na ang kahusayan, katinuan at kapananagutan ng mamamahala sa sport ay pinakamahalagang aspeto, at ang pagkakaroon ng tamang pananaw at mataas na pagpapahalagang moral. Muli, dapat magkaroon tayo ng mahusay at matinong pamamahala. Pangalawa ay magkaroon ng tamang tunguhin, mithiin at filosofiya. At pangatlo, mahuhusay at mabubuting tao na may mataas na pagpapahalagang upang may sakatuparan ng ating mga layunin. Dahil bilang huwaran kung ano yung ating nakikita at ang ating mga naranasan, dapat natin itong mapagsama-sama at nang sa gayon ay higit na makatulong para sa kauunlad ng ating bansa, lalo na sa larangan ng sports, sa pagpopromote ng mahusay, alerto at malusog na pamayanan at ng sambayan ng Pilipino. So, with that part, we would like to thank everyone who joined us online for the track talk here at Pinoy Athletics. This is Airnel Abarra of the University of Physical Education with my co-founder, Andrew Williams, Andrew Perry, for joining us this afternoon. We would like to thank as well everyone who joined us in all channels. So please follow, like, and share Pinoy Athletics Facebook Live, Facebook group, Facebook page, and www.pinoyathletics.info. So this is Airnel Abarra of the University of Physical Education signing off. Maraming salamat, stay safe, at mabuhay po tayong lahat. Mabuhay ang Pilipino, mabuhay ang sambayan ng Pilipino. Marami pong salamat.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you,
Okay,
Ms.
we will.
Rose.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so marami pong salamat.
Hi, attorney. Si attorney, naghihintay na po.
Stop na po tayo sa Facebook Live ha. So pwede na po tayo mag-usap.
Sinare na ni Sir Africa yung email niya.
Apo,
Ma'am
yan.
Dina, ikaw din ha.
Apo. So
sige.
kayo, apo. Ma'am, in any way na pwede kami makatulong, of course we would like to offer our services, of course.
Oo. Kasi lalo na ngayon, we're doing online workshops namin are all online.
Apo, yes po. Yes.
Yes.
So far po, baka kung mawala po, hopefully, ang COVID-19, as soon as possible, baka 2021 makauwi po ako or 2022. So,
okay.
yun po. Baka mas matulungan ko po kayo ng kaunti sa akin pong mga maliit na bagay.
Maraming salamat. Just keep in touch, Airnel.
Opo, ma'am, yung contact po ng related po sa Palaro People, sila po yung bala ko po imbitahin sa susunod. Kasi sabi niyo po, silang mas may kakayahang masagot.
Kung sino rin yung susulatan mo. Sige.
Sige po, ma'am.
Okay.
Attorney Vic, maraming salamat sa pagsali.
Sige, Anel. Bye. Dina, Rose. Bye.
Thank you po, Sir Vic. Thank you, Ma'am Dina.
Hindi po ako kasing galing pa, pero napagtatagaan.
Magaling ka naman.
Thank you for joining us. Apo.
Thank you. Maraming salamat sa pag-invite. Salamat po. Thank you.
Apo. Welcome po. Maki, thank you. Facebook na lamang. Apo. So, okay. So, Thank you very much, Maki, for joining us. Okay. Yan. Andrew, let's talk on Facebook Messenger. Thank you.